Good day, members of the media and the listening public, and thank you for attending this very important press conference. Last week, I announced that the government would introduce a bill to facilitate renewable energy technology developers testing their products in Bermuda. I stated, and quote, the legislation will lay the groundwork for additional investment in Bermuda, whose innovation can reduce the cost of electricity for local consumers, end quote. I also stated, quoting again, recently innovators have been seeking to develop creative solutions for electricity generation offshore in our oceans. Next week, I will have the pleasure of introducing one such developer. Today, I am extremely pleased to introduce the principals of Seabase Limited, who are committed to bringing wave technology to Bermuda. Wave technology is known to be relatively stable, operating 24/7, 365 days of the year. Wave power could theoretically produce more than 100% of the current electrical consumption. The ocean covers 70% of the Earth's surface, is available to large populations, and is highly reliable and predictable. Grid operators can know from 5 to 14 days in advance how much wave energy they will have to contribute to the base load. By combining the reliability of waves with solar and wind, grid operators can substantially boost the amount of reliable variable energy on the grid without risking interruptions. Today, we will sign an agreement as follows. Seabase will conduct an environmental impact assessment of the area, including historical assessment, seek all necessary approvals, and pay any associated fees, including, in particular, an operating license and any authorizations required by the Regulatory Authority of Bermuda, and commit to using Bermudian labor wherever possible. The government has committed to, in particular, providing access to the site known as BM 1.5 for the purpose of developing a wave energy farm, providing a regulatory framework for the use and operation of the site and utility, known as the Regulatory Sandbox. The Regulatory Sandbox is being created for new and innovative technologies not currently included in the Integrated Resource Plan, known as the IRP. When the IRP was developed, wave technology was literally in its infancy. As required by Section 42(3)(b of the Electricity Act of 2016, it could not demonstrate that it was in commercial operation in another jurisdiction. Therefore, the IRP has focused on solar photovoltaic, wind, and biomass. However, wave energy is now being considered as a commercial alternative. Seabase has extensively tested and refined its technology, including 2 successful full-scale demonstrations of wave power parks. The company has been developing wave solutions in Sweden, Finland, and Ghana. The legislation will give authority for the RA to consider licenses for new technology, such as Seabase, is scheduled for tabling in the House in 2022, early 2022 to be precise. A significant amount of negotiations was undertaken to determine the proposed location for situating the equipment. The Department of the Environment and Natural Resources, known as DENR, led this initiative. It held multiple consultations with stakeholders, including the Ministry of Transport, the Ministry of Public Works, the Marine Resources Board, and the Commercial Fisheries Council. DENR had to ensure that the location would provide the needed amount of wave energy, produce minimal disruption to our shipping lanes, strike a balanced approach with the fishing industry in that area, have no impact on whales that may be migrating through the area or on areas where commercially important fisheries may spawn. Not harm protected species, including coral and seagrass, and avoid impact to any aspect of our marine heritage. Needless to say, this took significant amount of time, energy, and consultation. And I am thankful for the efforts of Denner's director, Mr. Drew Pettit, and his team. On completion of the project, 40 megawatts wave park will provide about 10% of Bermuda's energy needs. I am confident that this pilot will prove a success. And so, subject to the regulatory authority's satisfaction and approval of the pilot, the IRP will be amended to include wave energy, making Seabase eligible to apply for a utility scale license. I would now like to introduce you to the principals of Seabase. These are the people who are going to make it happen. Firstly, let me introduce CEO Laurent Albert. Mr. Albert is a French civil engineer and MBA. He has led senior executive positions in Europe and Asia in high-end tech and marine renewables in Naval Group, formerly DCNS, Naval Energies, and Technip. He joined Seabase as CTO and CEO in the year 2019, early 2019. The other principal is of no stranger to our island of Bermuda. Mr. Wendell Brown, CEO of Bermuda General Agency and owner of several successful businesses in Bermuda. Mr. Brown is the one who brought Seabase to Bermuda and is the distributor for Seabase in the Caribbean region. He brought this idea to us and is willing to go through the process to where it is today. Mr. Brown wanted to make sure his country, Bermuda, had an opportunity to benefit from this interesting and exciting technology. And I commend Mr. Brown's patience, focus, perseverance, and his willingness to go through this exhausting process, and was instrumental, I repeat, instrumental in getting us to this point where we are today. So I thank Mr. Brown for all his efforts in this area and to bring Bermuda this exciting new technological opportunity. In a moment, I will invite Mr. Albert to say a few words. But before I hand over the microphone, I would like to remind the public that this is a throne speech initiative, and I am proud to declare it a promise made and a promise kept. We expect this model will build on the confidence that has already been shown internationally in Bermuda, and in other investors will be encouraged to invest their renewable energy technologies in Bermuda. Thank you. I will now invite Mr. Albert to the podium to say a few words.
Certainly. Minister, thank you. Mr. Brown, thank you. I wish to say a few words on behalf of the Seabase team for the government of Bermuda and Mr. Brown to share our values and our wish to see this third vertical, this new industry birthing in this island. I'm sure it will inspire a number of island states, particularly in the Caribbean, but also all over the world, that we need diversity to provide energy to the islands and to the countries, in addition to wind and solar. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albert and Minister.
Yes, I would like to thank Seabase, their team, Mr. Albert and Mr. Brown, for creating this exciting opportunity for our country. I didn't outline it in my statement, But we are the first jurisdiction in this region, and when I say this region, North America, South America, and the Caribbean, to have this technology deployed, or have the opportunity to deploy it. This is significant in that out of the COP26 events and the obvious commitment globally to begin to move away from fossil fuels, this for our island is an excellent opportunity to show that we are serious about that transition. We are serious about fulfilling the Paris Agreement initiatives and aspirations of adaptation and resilience and the opportunity to move away and certainly mediate the impacts of climate change the best we can, but we are making a sincere effort as a small island jurisdiction to adapt. And we appreciate the support of Seabase and the vision of Mr. Brown and the team to see Bermuda as an opportunity for this wonderful technology. With that, I will happily take questions.
Thank you, Minister. So you say it's going to... Sorry? Oh, right. We're further back this time. You say it could generate 10% of the energy needs for the island. What kind of timescale would that be to reach that level, if it worked?
Well, I do believe that the timeline for once everything is in place is about 18 months for them to actually have their technology deployed in our waters, but perhaps Mr. Albera can speak more to that specific detail if he wishes.
Certainly. We wish to plan the deployment in phases, starting with 2 megawatts, and then we'll scale up to 40 megawatts in the course of around 4 years.
Okay, and how much profit do you intend to make or expect to make? What's the overall yield, and what would the profit be for your company?
It's a bit early stage because we still need to negotiate all the financial conditions for that. So I will defer the questions for a bit later.
You must have an estimate there, or else you wouldn't be investing here.
We have estimates, yes, considering the cost of power in Bermuda. There's ample space to make it both profitable for the Bermudans and for the company.
Okay, Minister. Again, what's an acceptable level, do you think, for the island to pay Seabase to come here? What kind of level of profits would you expect them to take or share of it?
Well, I think Mr. Albera has spoken to that already. Those are very early stage for us to be discussing those numbers. The main thing is that we are creating as a government a framework to attract Seabase and other companies to use Bermuda as a test bed for technologies that will eventually address the global renewable energy needs. And that's our main interest here, is to do that. And so is to create that opportunity. Obviously investment will come in, obviously jobs will be created, obviously opportunities will be created, and it is our hope over time that this will help to lower the cost of energy in Bermuda. That's our main goals here. And I do believe that companies like Seabase share that vision for Bermuda. They've obviously taken that vision to other parts of the world and shown it can work. We are happy to be a part of that journey with Seabase, is to deal with those issues, because our goal is to lower cost of energy, is to create an opportunity for new technologies to be tested in Bermuda, and certainly the investment opportunities that come with that, that's what we're looking for.
Okay, obviously Mr. Albert speaks for Seabase and you speak for the government.
Yeah.
So what do you think would be a reasonable profit margin for this outside company to have?
I think that question's already been answered, and I've outlined to you the goals of this government, is to attract innovation, opportunity, and investment, and with that will come jobs and like capacity, and moving us away from the costly expense of renewable energy over time. That's our goal here.
And what level of environmental disruption would this cause?
That has been outlined in the statement, what we expect, but Seabase will do an environmental impact assessment long before, so we'll know what the environmental impacts will be. That's all a part of the process that is built in legislatively and required as part of the deployment. So we'll know, but based on what we know already after the consultation, we've outlined minimal impact on our marine environment, on our shipping lanes, on our fisheries at this point. We've consulted with all the local stakeholders on this matter, and we will continue to work with them. So we're expecting minimal environmental impact, but an environmental impact thoroughly will be done by the company to ensure that we know exactly what those will be. That's a part of the whole program.
Mr. Albert, if I could, why did you choose Bermuda?
First, Bermuda was chosen for the fact that it is entirely surrounded by seas and that the climate, wave climate as we say it, is quite ideal for our technology. And that means that we approach Mr. Brown, and Mr. Brown believed in our values and the project and the way that we could provide energy sustainably to the island.
Okay, and did Bermuda offer you the best deal as well?
I'm sorry?
Did Bermuda offer you the best deal as well, financially?
There is no financial deal for the moment, as we said. It's not about the financials, it's about the regulatory framework that allows for the project to happen. The business model will come in time.
Just to add to that, and I thank Mr. Albert for his answer, I think you'll see if you look around the world, there are companies that are testing new technologies that they hope ultimately will make money, but they need places to test and experiment and show that they work around the world in different climates. They have projects in Sweden, Finland, and in Ghana. Those are different parts of the world. For these technologies to be commercially viable globally, they need to show that they can work in different climates, different conditions, different areas of the globe. And we're providing an opportunity for that to happen. We want innovation in Bermuda. We are working for innovation in different technological areas, as you well know, in fintech, in other areas. We are an innovator in the insurance and reinsurance sector. This is a part of the history of Bermuda. We want to be able to know that we are doing well in this area. And as all the other areas that we have done well in with attracting innovation, we're looking to attract it in the energy sector.
Okay, great. And finally, Minister, if I could go to a different subject. The IRA consultation on the move to self-generated electricity, it's looking at options that don't include the creator of energy being able to plug back into the island grid. Do you think that could be a bit of a disincentive for the project?
No, that is, I doubt that at all. I would argue that perhaps there are some changes that will be needed to be made to the grid over time in any event to attract a variety of technologies. But that consultation is being run by the RA, so your primary questions really should be them as to whether what they're proposing will be like a disincentive to attracting new like investment. But we work closely with the RA. They are aware of what we are doing. Their mandate, if you look at it closely, is to promote investment in the energy sector, in the different sectors they regulate. So we doubt that they're doing anything that is a disincentive, because that's built into their mandate.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Any closing remarks?
Mr. Albert, anything you wish to close with?
Just as a complement to your questions, wave energy is particularly stable compared to other modern renewables, and I think it's well adapted to the islands, where it does not imply heavy constraints on the modernization of the power grid. And that's why it's particularly welcome as a starting point.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. As I said, I am excited that we finally have been able to bring this opportunity to Bermuda. Bermuda has made it very clear that we are interested in a clean, renewable energy future, and this is just one step, along with the other steps that we're making that are clearly outlined in the IRP towards moving away from fossil fuels, towards a primarily sustainable, renewable energy future. This is just one step in that journey. Many countries are making this journey. We aren't new to this. This is nothing that other countries and other island states aren't themselves contemplating. We are proud to be the first for this technology in the region, and we will continue to look for ways that we can innovate and bring new things to Bermuda that can improve and advance our future as a country.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you all for attending. Everyone, have a great day.